Okay, thanks Louis for that. A couple of different reminders. So we are taking questions and we're encouraging questions from our viewership on the internet, so in our watch party. So if you're a branch, one of the administrators or somebody in sales can get the question to us if you want, or you can email us directly at aos@rockymtn.com. That's aos@rockymtn.com. Please send them in, and we're going to have a couple of different periods where we'll stop, reset, and we'll have Louis answer some of these questions, and Steve Colburn here in Camrose will help out at some point. So please bring them in. We encourage you guys to get those questions into us. And with that, I think Louis, you're going to do feeding. And yeah, you can take it from there. Thank you.
All right, now we get into talking a little bit more about the combine itself and what needs to happen as the material goes inside the combine. Okay, so we're going to start with the header and work our way back through the feeder, and then we're going to stop at feeder, and then we're going to take a little break at that point. We'll break it down in sections. So first of all is basically understanding grain loss behind the combine. And there's a lot of us that have or struggle with that. Because bottom line is we look at those funnels, and if we see them in the red, our blood temperature just goes straight to the roof right off the bat. The funnels means absolutely nothing, okay? Unless you get out of the seat and go look behind the combine to see what's happening, the funnel means absolutely nothing. Wow, what'd you buy them for? Okay? So you need to give the funnels a reference. Because I can have that funnel, I can run it like this high in the funnel, and I have zero loss behind the combine. Or I can run it like at 1 millimeter showing of green and have 10 bushels an acre thrown behind. It's up to me, because that's a sensitivity. And sensitivity is nothing more than this. Or I set it higher. Okay? The higher I set it, the less force it takes on the sensor. The lower I set it, the more force it takes. Okay, so if I'm doing canola, I'm going to set it a little higher, right? Smaller seed, because it does this. If I'm in wheat, it does this. Oh, I should set it differently, shouldn't I? Well, do you realize that the density of a canola kernel is approximately the same as wheat? So if I set it in canola at 80, what do you think my funnel is going to look like? In the red. And I'm throwing over half a bushel. If I see it in red, how many bushels is that? Oh crap, don't ask me a question, I'm not supposed to answer it, okay? So, I don't know, I have no idea. Unless I go behind and look, I'm not gonna know, okay? So that's what I want to go through to help you guys understand it. We have not replaced the individual body to get out and go in the dust and get dirty. All right? We haven't done that yet. It's coming in the future, but it's not there yet, okay? So, I know, I don't like getting dirty either, because every time I go out and I say, hey, let's go do a drop test. Because I always use a screen, that's the way to the combine. So I always pick on the young guy, because I told Victor Gunn, my counterpart, so I told him, I said, Victor, here, you go through the screen. So he goes, throws the screen. What do you think he does? Hits a tire, runs over the screen, and bends the crap out of it. Well, we've only got 2 screens, and he did that on purpose, because now he knows he doesn't know how to throw it, because he didn't want to get dirty, so he's going to send Louis out, because Louis is going to do the perfect drop, right? So now Louis is all dirty. So you have to sacrifice your body once in a while. So anyway, analyzing it. There's pre-harvest loss. Whatever fell down over here in front, you ain't going to pick it up. This is not a vacuum cleaner, all right? She's down, she's gone. Okay, you had a little bit of a hailstorm come through. Please don't touch wood, don't do that to me, okay? We got enough trouble as it is. So you might have some grain on the ground, but you and I, when we go look, where do we look? We look behind, right there. So don't get fooled. I always get out there and I get down my hands and knees back here, start counting, and then I crawl underneath the combine and I look to see if it's getting worse or better. If it stays the same, no sense blaming the combine. Combine didn't catch it. And 9 times out of 10, I go right underneath the header and it's all header. But we're blaming the combine because it had to be the combine. So, all right, you guys can read, and I'm going to go through all that. Okay, what's the first rule of harvesting? Wow, that's a novel idea. That's a novel idea, isn't it? Okay, the crop has to be fit to harvest. When is the crop fit to harvest? The minute it quits raining, okay? So don't beat yourself too hard, okay? If the crop is not ready, it's not going to harvest very well. The combine's capable of handling a lot, okay? They are very forgiving, but sometimes we're over the edge. And then that's when we start spending stupid money trying to fix it, where 2 days might just fix it for you, okay? And I'm talking about buying different modules and all this kind of stuff because everybody makes better modules than we do, so. All right, weather, disease, insect, whatever, all that good stuff. Same thing, header loss. I just got corn over here, no big deal. Wheat's the same way, it'll get thrashed out by the reel. The reel is a bad area for shelling out. If we don't adjust the tines properly, we don't adjust the speed. This is all common sense stuff, okay? But unfortunately, we need to get out of the seat and use wrenches to go adjust it, and we don't want to do that. So always look at the header, every time. This is a picture of a pickup head. This was way back in 2002 when we first came out with the 8010. You see something wrong here? I had to go over there and fix this, okay? The crop is feeding over top of the auger. When it folds it underneath, backwards, now the combine, modules, conky, whatever you want to call them, has got to separate this stuff to let the kernels get out. If it's all mangled up, it can't do it. So, with all the white caps we had in the grain tank, all we did is adjusted the faceplate over here, and it went away. That's all we did, nothing else. Just adjusted the pitch of the faceplate. And it fixed the white caps in the grain tank. So. Finger timing is another one that we forget to look at. So finger timing is, the adjustment is always on the right-hand side of the head. Okay, so it's on this side. So I flip my watch around, and unfortunately now all of us have digital watch. And we have no idea what 7:30 is. So go back to your clock and find out where 7:30 is, or 4 o'clock over here. If I'm looking from this side that way, it's going to be about 7:30, 8 o'clock. That's the proper adjustment. They got to be fully retracted. They usually come from the plant, and you're going to say, Larry, why don't you do it right? Okay? They come from the plant adjusted at 3 o'clock if I'm looking from that side, but 9 o'clock the other one. So it's something that needs to be done on pre-delivery. And the reason they do that is because we have no idea what you're going to harvest for crop. We make them adjustable. Some other companies, they weld them shut. So you're stuck. That's all you're going to get. So at least on our pickups, you can adjust it to the crop that you're actually in. But this happens to be the ideal. There's the adjuster over here. Every time I go to the field, this block over here is never removed, okay? So the auger cannot float. So make sure that block is out of there, moved up to the top position so the auger can float up and down. Couple of adjustments on here. Front drum can be adjusted, and also the faceplate. Here's the bolts. They're big, okay? They're about that big. And when you got 7 of them on each side, any of you guys going to adjust it? Never, okay? But take the time and do it, because if Louis comes to your place, guess what we're going to do? We're going to go to the shop and we're going to adjust it. And we're going to waste extra time. So just if you're changing from a straight cut header to a pickup head, you might as well go to the shop right away, loosen them up, and as soon as you loosen them up, they're going to go bam, pickup falls all the way down to the position it should be, tighten them up, go to work. Now if you switch from pickup head to straight cut header, during the day, are you going to change it back and forth? Never, okay? So then you're going to have to find the happy medium, and hopefully both heads feed good. That's why the adjustable faceplate from the cab is really nice, because you hit the switch, and there you go. So, a couple things that I wanted to talk about: front drum, the adjustments. We've done this before. So lower position is usually for wheat, canola, peas is middle, top is corn. But if you hear the feeder chain bouncing on the floor too much and it annoys the shit out of you, just go and move it up. Okay, got to remember, those chains are long, and they don't beat on the floor when there's material in the combine. It's only when it gets at the end of the field is where you're going to hear it. It's not going to kill your feeder house, but that position is where it feeds the best. Feeder chain, just remember, there's a spacer inside the spring. You need to make sure that when you tighten up on that nut over here, as soon as it starts to turn harder, stop right there. Turn it backward, 1.5 turn. And then that spacer will be loose inside. That will be the proper tension for your feeder chain. Otherwise, I can keep cranking on this and pull this bolt right through, and that gauge is never going to go past this washer, because I'm pulling the bolt right through the spacer. And then I bend the crap out of this over here, so that's all bent to hell here. And this is all bent and busted and whatever else. That's usually signs of over-tightening. So get it to where it starts to feel harder, back it off, 1.5 turn, life is good. For combine that's got a lot of wear on the feeder chain, this gap over here is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. So as soon as it gets too close to those shields at the front, it's time to take a link out of it. And then when you put the bolt back in, make sure that the nut is away from the ring. There's a ring that stops the chain from moving. The nut's going to be on the opposite side. Otherwise, it spins the nut out. All right, at this point, that was the portion on the feeder itself. So now I'm going to pass it back on to Chad and on to the next session here.